Mark my words right now. Joe Biden will not serve a full term, a full 4 years as president of the United States. He won't. For one reason or another, he won't. It is a great day to be an American. Why? Because of patriots like you. Patriots like you who go out of their way to listen to an alternative form of view. Alternative being a view of facts and reason and logic that exists outside the mainstream media. And that's what we strive to do here at the Freedom Hub. Thank you very much for watching. Joe Biden, most popular president of all time. Nearly 80 million votes. How does this happen? Well, a lot of people say he didn't win because he was popular. It's not like he won the game. It's just that, people hated the other team that much. And hate is a lot stronger than positive reinforcement, And that's just what happened. Go on Amazon. Look at the reviews on Amazon. Are there more negative reviews or more positive reviews? Same thing with Yelp. People are always more likely to show up to complain rather than to say that something was good and wonderful. And they would like to come again. Or they would buy it again and recommend it to their friends. So it was the hate for Donald Trump that was so strong. Not the fact that Joe Biden was just that admired and adored throughout the country. Now, this whole thing worries me a whole lot. Back in the day, there was a guy named Howard Dean. Howard Dean was running for president. And during one of his speeches, he was talking about how we're going to go over here, we're going to do this, we're going to go over here and do this, and then we're going to go all the way to Washington, D.C. And then he let out a maniacal, yeah! And then his political career was over. They were like, wow, he is a crazy man. He is a crazy, insane man. I mean, this was kind of in the times before memes, but you couldn't turn on the TV or browse the internet without seeing a clip of this guy just over and over and over again. And that's all it took. His political career was over. So how does it get to be that Joe Biden can be in Washington, D.C. for almost 50 years, say some terrible, terrible things, do some terrible things, and we just let him keep going? Is it because most of the time it was the citizens of Delaware voting for him? Is that what it was? Just blame the people in the small state of Delaware? Okay. So let's back it up. Let's back it right up to this past election. While on the campaign trail, he said some terrible, racist things. This would be political suicide for any candidate. But to a geriatric old man career politician, product of the swamp, it was fine. He talked about his hairy legs and comparing them with African American children at a public pool. What? What? He said the words, if you have a hard time deciding whether or not you're voting for me or Trump, then you ain't black. He said that. Are you kidding me? You marginalize an entire group of people. What is wrong with you? But we let him continue. We let him continue. We let him keep going. Why? Because we hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men and women are you know the thing. The thing? The thing. Still he continues. Now he's our president. He's our president. And as of right now, it is Sunday night, March 14th. He's been in office since January 20th. And he still has not had a press conference. His press secretary takes care of that. He doesn't answer questions. Saw it from day one. Let's talk about that day one for a second. That day one where all the reporters were in the Oval Office and he was sitting there and he had a stack of 11 executive orders to sign on the first day. More than double of any president has ever done in their first week in office. And he signs one. And he signs another one. And he's bumbling through it. He's like, this is about the coronavirus and federal mask mandate. And this is going to be great. Of course, he's all masked up and everything during it. And he's had a very long day. At this point in time, it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Washington, D.C. It's this one. This one is ending the restrictions on the travel ban. And there it is. And the third one, and the last one that I'm going to sign in front of all you folks is blah, 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 blah. Wait a minute. What? You have a stack of 11. 11. And you pull the third one and you're just like, this is the last one that I'm going to sign in front of you. And as soon as he's done and says the words, thank you, you hear people in the background yelling at the press saying, okay, all right, that's enough. That's enough, everybody, get out. Okay, we're all done here. All right, thank you, bye, bye, bye. And just starts herding them out of the Oval Office. I've never seen anything like this. This is nuts. And I thought this was going to be a one-time thing. It kept happening. It's happened almost every time he's gone on camera to speak to the American people. You saw it earlier this week when he gave us an update on the whole 1 year of coronavirus in America that he did, where he told us what we can and can't do as Americans. The only thing you can't do as an American is break the law. It's the Constitution of the United States. You can't break it. You're not allowed. You want to live here? You have to abide by the laws in the Constitution. Two very important documents. The Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence said that all men are created equal and all men have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They will not be dictated to by some tyrant. They will not be told what they can and can't do by their leader because they're Americans and they are free. Once again, not an anarchist society. We have the Constitution. But we are free people. And if we play his little games, we just might be able to have a backyard barbecue on our own personal property on July 4th, where we celebrate our nation's independence. Independence. I am tired of this. I am exhausted. I've had enough. And now it's get vaccinated. Don't you want things to go back to normal? I had a piece of t-shirt fabric between me and everybody else since June of last year. I've been in contact with thousands of people with the same kind of protection. My wife has been in contact with thousands of people with the t-shirt material. We didn't get sick. We didn't get it, or if we did, then we didn't even know it. Call us lucky. But I'm not the healthiest guy out there. I'm really not. I'm a little bit more healthy now than I was, sure. But I would have been one of those high risk kind of people that they talked about on the news. Take every precaution, stay indoors. You go outside, you're going to die. I'm here, I'm fine. I'll say it again. How many people died from the flu last year? How many people? Because according to medical records going up to 2019, but not 2020, over 300,000 people die of the flu or flu-related illnesses or complications due to the flu and a pre-existing condition every year. But we need help, and we need to be dependent on our government. Because our government has been taxing us our entire lives, and they just keep deciding to tax us more and more and more every year. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Taxation is theft. You are forcibly taking money from somebody, and they don't have a choice. It's not given of your own free will. It is deducted out of your paychecks. And if you don't pay it, if you owe, you go to jail. Taxation is theft. Or another word for theft, larceny. $1.9 trillion. 1.9 trillion United States tax dollars. I've heard about the amount of 1.9 trillion US dollars. I've heard that before. Where was it? Oh yeah. It was the United States' entire GDP in 1976. 1.875 trillion. 1976, our nation's 200th birthday. $1.9 trillion. All right, well, yeah, sure. There are people still struggling. There are still people struggling all over this country. And it's not because of the virus, it's because of their government. It's because the government has worked them into a corner. It's because their government has made it so they had to depend on them. And so the government sweeps in. We're going to give you a stimulus check. We're going to take care of you. What was it? What was it called? Like the American People's Rescue Act? Is that what they called the bill? How ridiculous is that? You took away these people's businesses. You took away these people's livelihoods. You took away their ability to work. You took their kids out of the classroom. We'll just throw them a little stimulus check every now and then. And this is for the American people. $1.9 trillion for the American people. There are 329 million, roughly, U.S. citizens. 329 million. This bill is 1.9 trillion. 1.9 trillion divided by 329 million is 5,575. 5,575. How much money have you paid in taxes in your lifetime to the federal government? Your federal income tax. Has it been more than $5,575? Here's $1,400. Shut the hell up. $1,400. We saved you. Honestly, I'm worried. I am. We got another election coming up here in 2 years. I would say call your congressman. Call your congressman and let them know to vote no on these issues. To vote no on these things. That used to do something. It did. I'm not talking about inciting violence. What happened on January 6th at the Capitol building was wrong. That was the wrong way to go about it. It really was. I remember I was happy that day because I watched Trump's speech and then I saw everybody gathered outside of the Capitol. And they were waving their flags and they were saying, this can't happen. We are standing up for what we know is right. We are standing up for our president. We're standing up for what we believe in. We feel that things have been stolen from us and all we want is to be heard. That is what they were doing, peacefully protesting. I was happy. I was. I even posted on the Freedom Hub's Facebook a quote from Thomas Jefferson saying a people who are afraid of their government is tyranny. A government that is afraid of its people, that is a true democracy. I honestly believe that. Afraid that they would break in and cause panic. That's not what I mean. Afraid that they might not get voted in again? Yeah. That fear is real. Ask any politician. That maybe the people have turned on me and maybe I won't get elected again and maybe my career in Washington's over. But scary enough, it feels like they don't care about that anymore. They don't care about being reelected. They don't care about your opinion and how you feel. They care about their agenda and getting it passed as quickly as possible completely unchecked. Does it go through the Supreme Court to even see if it's constitutional? No. I know I've covered a lot in this episode. I know that I have. And, tried to be upfront and honest with you. This is Rant. I'm not going to talk about any one particular topic. I'm going to tell you about how I'm tired. I am absolutely exhausted. These guys are not making it easy. The worst thing that we can do is become complacent, to be able to put our hands up in the air and say, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. They're just going to do what they're going to do, and that's it. Maybe I'll vote again in 2 years and try to change it. I know I've talked about that in previous episodes. Remember what your governors did to you within this last year. Remember it on Election Day. Don't let them get away with it. But something needs to happen now. Something needs to happen to stop this. There's a conspiracy theory that I heard before the election that they wanted Joe Biden to get in. The Democrat Party wanted Joe Biden to get in because Kamala Harris was not popular enough with the people of this country during the primaries in order to get elected. She was the one who was closest and tightest with their liberal progressive agenda. But the people didn't like her enough in order to push her through the primary. So they pushed for Joe, a career politician who's really good at doing what he's told. Somebody who's not all there. That they could just push into a corner and, it's really the closest we could get to Obama. We can't get Obama to run for a third one because it's kind of against the Constitution. But when has that stopped us before? I told you it was a rant. Get him into office. And I remember saying, he's going to maybe last a year. He's going to maybe last a year before he resigns or something happens to him. Because he's not doing so good and he's getting worse and worse by the day. And that's their plan. Mark my words right now. Joe Biden will not serve a full term, a full 4 years as president of the United States. He won't. For one reason or another, he won't. And then Kamala Harris becomes president. And liberals across the United States and around the world celebrate our first woman president. And of course, our first woman president of color. Because it's more important to be the first than the right one. If that happens, go ahead and throw up an asterisk right next to that. Because she wasn't elected by the people. Barack Obama, at least, was elected by the people. And he was the right choice. He really was. Republicans pulled out the little guns for those elections. McCain and Romney. What has Mitt Romney done for Republicans lately? Joe Biden will not serve a full term. For one reason or another. Kamala will become president. And there you have your liberal agenda. You have somebody in the White House that will actually be able to have a press conference and answer questions. Say what you want about her. She is younger and she's a lot more there than he is. Her story's pretty interesting. I don't want to get into the details because they'll probably just kick the channel off. But one of these days when I feel like that's inevitable, I'll go into detail. Look, I fear for this country. I do. I fear for each and every one of you. I want only the best. And it seems like we're getting further and further away from the things that make us Americans, the things that make us free and equal. It's time to get back to that. It's time to get back to conservative values. And that doesn't mean excluding anybody based on their race, their color, their creed, their gender identity. What you choose to do, who you choose to be, and who you are. That's up to you. It's a free country. This is still the greatest country in the world. Don't ever forget it. Because the minute we do, and we sit back and shrug our shoulders and give up and say, there's nothing I can do about it, that's when they win. And that's why I'm here right now talking to you. That is why the Freedom Hub exists. Didn't have to exist. It didn't. I felt like it did. I did. Because conservative voices all around the country were getting silenced. And deleting their social media accounts and not showing their news conferences and just not covering them at all. For so long, I was not very outspoken about who I was politically. I tried not to talk about politics because I saw how quickly it got people from happy to angry and would just write you off. Has that happened to you? Has that happened to you? Where somebody has just been like, oh, you're one of those. And it doesn't matter what kind of past you guys had, what kind of memories you shared. And it's over. Because you talk politics and you guys have differing opinion. It's awful. So, of course, I avoided it for a long time. But in amongst the madness of 2020, I had to know that I was not the only one that felt this way. And so I started talking about it, and I found out that this guy, and this guy, and this guy, they all felt the same way I did. But they had never talked about it with me either. Why? Because they didn't want to be labeled a racist or a white supremacist or bigot or an insurrectionist. So they kept it to themselves. But man, when you find somebody and you guys connect on that level, it is a beautiful thing. Besides the fact that all of a sudden you have so many more things to talk about. You also know that you're not alone. And you are not alone. Thank you for watching this episode of the Freedom Hub. I'd like to go ahead and thank all of our law enforcement, first responders, veterans, and active military out there. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you soon.